The house next door had always been a source of curiosity and dread for me. It was a dilapidated, ancient structure, its time-worn facade hiding the horrors that lay within. No one in the neighborhood dared to venture near it, and children would spin tales of a ghostly presence that haunted its halls. But the most chilling rumor of all was about the man who lived there. They said he had no eyes, just empty sockets, and that he wept incessantly, his pitiful cries echoing through the night. His mournful wails sent shivers down our spines, and many believed he was cursed, a living ghost. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the quiet street, I decided to confront my fear and face the enigma next door. Curiosity had gnawed at me for too long, and I felt compelled to uncover the truth behind the legend. I mustered my courage and approached the wrought iron gate that led to the front door. Its hinges creaked eerily as I pushed it open, revealing a garden choked with overgrown weeds and thorny vines. The house itself seemed to sag under the weight of years, windows boarded up, the wood rotting away. As I ventured closer to the front door, the air grew thick with a sense of foreboding. The door itself was ajar, as if inviting me to enter. With a deep breath, I pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit hallway. The stench of decay assaulted my senses, and I fought back the urge to retch. The walls were covered in peeling wallpaper, the once elegant patterns reduced to chaotic swirls. The air was heavy with a mournful melody, a haunting tune that seeped into my very soul. I followed the sound deeper into the house, through a labyrinth of decaying rooms. Each one was a tableau of forgotten memories, their furnishings shrouded in dust and cobwebs. The atmosphere was oppressive, as if the very walls were suffocating me. Finally, I reached the source of the haunting melody. It led me to a room at the end of a long corridor, a room bathed in a sickly blue light. In the center of the room sat a man, his back hunched, his form emaciated. He was dressed in rags, and as I approached, I could see that the rumors were true. He had no eyes, just dark, empty sockets. Tears flowed from those hollow cavities, a ceaseless river of sorrow. They streamed down his withered cheeks, pooling on the floor. The man's face contorted in anguish as he wept, and his mournful cries tore at my very soul. I stood there, transfixed by the sight before me. It was a grotesque, heart-wrenching spectacle, and I couldn't tear my eyes away from the man's suffering. I had to know who he was, what had brought him to this wretched state. With trembling hands, I reached out to touch his shoulder. He flinched at my touch, as if he had not expected another soul to be near. Slowly he turned to face me, and the sight that met my eyes filled me with unspeakable dread. His mouth, too, was empty, a black void that seemed to stretch into eternity. He gurgled and sputtered, trying to form words that would not come. I could see the torment in his eyes, despite the absence of sight. In a voice that sounded like the agonized moans of the damned, he whispered, "Help me!" I recoiled in horror, unable to comprehend the horror before me. What could I do to help this wretched soul? Was there any escape from the nightmare that had become his life? The man's cries grew more desperate, and he reached out, his bony fingers grasping at my throat. I stumbled back, but his grip was unrelenting. I could feel the cold, clammy touch of his hands, a deathly chill that seemed to drain the life from me. As the darkness closed in, I realized the true horror of the man next door. He was not a victim. He was a predator, a malevolent force that had ensnared me in his web of despair. In that final, terrifying moment, I knew that I would become just another tormented soul crying in the house next door.